degrees.
This is my town.
ABC Radio Melbourne.
Welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. Who will be welcoming back in the studio? It's Red Symons, ladies and gentlemen.
Finally.
Well, you did fall over and hit your head.
I did, but the coach reckons I'm good for the finals.
That's exciting. So you will be back when? On full-time on this radio station?
Oh, well, you should just say, when will you be back?
When will you be back?
Sunday.
Sunday?
Yeah.
Why on Sunday?
On the telly.
You're doing are you doing a countdown thing or something?
Well, I was there.
You were there
35 years ago, 40 years ago. So I presume they're running it again.
Yeah, well, people going by the concerns on the text messaging service, they want to know when you're coming back to the radio.
Well, Monday. 5:30.
Oh.
The funny thing is, there was a thing in the Green Guide this week, last week, doesn't matter. When's he coming back?
Yeah.
And I remember when I first got here, some hours ago, like thousands of them, there was controversy in the Green Guide about, he's good, he's bad. But my favourite comment was from a writer who said, presenters at the ABC should change under only two circumstances. One, I die. Two, they die. And I thought, well, I'm still alive. I'm back.
You are back. And you have, as I said, you've been hanging around for a few days. It's been like I come into the office and you sit next to me. It's been like Weekend at Bernie's. You've been sitting there.
Please, the metaphor.
But you are back and you're in good health.
Yeah. The reason I've been back, as much as anything else, is to get my body clock back to, where it lives.
But how is your actual head, Red?
It's fine.
Yeah?
You can't see any bruises, can you?
I can't. Do they operate?
No.
They didn't operate?
No.
You just hit your head.
Yeah.
And then was there any blood when you hit your head?
No. Didn't leak any blood.
No, well, okay.
The brain just rattled around in the skull for a little while and I'm back.
You're back, basically. So 5:30, tune in. You will return. Do you want to hang around for the rest of you can do the rest of the show. I'm quite happy to go.
No.
Quite happy to go.
No, I thought about that with Gil and Jared and you and me. It's like four people living in four different universes.
Yeah, very true.
So
have you missed it?
Sort of. All the time I was away, most of the time I was away until the last week or two, I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd read the paper, make a cup of tea, ready to go.
Talking to a banana?
No.
Look, people are saying, Red, so glad to hear you. We've missed you. Yay. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, welcome back, Red. You made Ray's day. Oh, thought you were going to do a Macca shift on Sunday, Red. What is that all about? Okay, all right. Yeah, Red, here, Red. Oh, Red. Jon Faine has returned as well. How are you, John?
Dave, Red.
John.
Good to see you on this side of the glass.
As a guest, as opposed to a host.
No, we should reveal. You've been kind of hanging around the place for a bit, just getting used to the
last week,
thing and finishing the various requirements of the Occupational Health and Safety SARS.
Yeah, playing backgammon.
It's bizarre, isn't it, that the rehab people try and get their head around what it is that you and I and now Dave is doing in order to work out how do you get someone who does this sort of a job, how do you get them back into work as opposed to someone who does, more typical jobs in the community. They've probably never encountered that kind of challenge before.
I did have a discussion with somebody called Professor Name Redacted who said to me they were concerned about my supposed lack of inhibition when in the public arena.
Yeah.
Everybody
before
I've told,
or after?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Everybody I've told that to has just laughed.
Yeah.
And the other thing I said,
I might say though, this is quite sincere, and I hope you don't hate me for it.
Brace yourself.
Here we go.
The first time I saw you after your incident, I was profoundly concerned for you, and you were very much out of sorts, and you probably don't know how out of sorts you were. You probably still don't know how out of sorts you were.
I love the way you make my injury all about you, John.
No, I didn't. And the concern was, well, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. sort of thing. And how do you put the pieces back together again? And
all the king's horses and all the king's men.
and
That's
it's a-
what happened.
It's a tribute to both your persistence and your patience, I might also say, but also the incredible skills of all the different professionals. That, you know, you, as best as most of us can tell, you're as irritatingly and normal as you've ever been. You're sort of, you know,
And what a great excuse for any outburst, Red. You've got a brain injury now. Yeah. You can say, "Oh, that's because I fell over and hit my head."
Yeah, good luck with that.
I've got an injury here. Oh, you guys have missed each other, obviously.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
we've had a bit to do with each other behind the scenes. It's actually been very hard not to share it with the audience because they've been endlessly asking and saying, and we've had to go, "Oh yeah, he'll be back," without saying, "Yeah, look, you know, I had lunch with him. He's just as annoying as ever yesterday."
Right.
Not such a bad thing.
Well, Red is back and he'll be there Monday morning at 5:30.
Yeah.
John, what's on your show today?
Oh,
Yeah, what's
matter.
on your show?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, come on.
really.
Yeah,
Do
it
your
does.
normal banter
Yeah.
that you guys do.
Tell us about the hockey or something.
So glad you asked.
They're in the grand final next week, so you'll get the update, Red.
Well, in fact, even worse than that, the A grade team are in the grand final as well. So Yarra Valley Super Vets,
I was kind of
A and
joking
B
about that.
grade we're both in the grand final.
We don't
So-
really want to hear about it.
well, we were hoping to pinch a few of their players and try and stack the team and cheat, but now we can't. So yeah.
Oh,
It's all
damn.
a bit awkward, that, yeah. What have how have you filled the time? Because you've had a lot more spare time on your hands than even you with your somewhat, you know,
Bohemian
indolent
lifestyle.
nature. Yeah.
Kind of spent a lot of time doing pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm back in the routine that I'm always in. I go to the pool every day.
Yeah.
How many laps do you do?
20.
Is it 25 metre or 50 metre?
Neither. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Well, how many metres is it?
Well, it's pre-metric, the pool.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
It hasn't been converted. Has it made you more empathetic?
Not at this particular moment in time, John, but generally speaking, yes.
I mean, it is life-altering when you have these sorts of things, and let's not underestimate how serious your injury was. Let's not under-describe how serious it was. So these are life-changing incidents when they happen, and people take stock and do all that sort of stuff.
I get bailed up by people on the street, and where once upon a time I'd be bracing myself thinking, oh, what do they want? What favour will they lever from me? Now I recognise them as being simply empathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're concerned, and you're allowed to be concerned too.
Yeah, I'll probably get rid of that response fairly quickly.
Was there an angel who helped you when you fell over? Do you know who helped you or called the ambulance, or has someone stood by your bedside and said,
I'm withholding all this information
okay.
so I can announce it.
"Oh,
on
cool,
Monday.
all right,
Yeah.
yes, good."
And also, there's a piece on the ABC website. There will be
What?
that I've written.
What, some multimedia spectacular?
No, it's just writing.
No, hang on, Dave. Hang about for the Australian
Yeah, story. I was going to say, Reds. Australian story tonight. Reds fall.
Reds bounce.
We loved him in the
Reds
Skyhawks.
bounce.
Yeah,
Reds
Reds
fall and
bounce.
Reds
Reds
A
bounce.
special short episode.
Well, we're all looking forward to it. That's for sure.
What, Australian story?
Oh, that I'd love to. Oh no, Red returning to the airways.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, it's taxing, so look, good luck. And
Taxing?
it is.
It's only 2 hours a day. How hard could that be?
Oh, it's hard. I've done it for 2 weeks. It's killer.
Yeah, it
So-
is. I mean, look at Dave. He's a shadow.
Oh,
of
I'm
himself,
shattered.
so-
No, he looked like that before.
Yeah, I did. So it could be a help.
Lots of big things happening this morning, including yesterday the Victorian, the figures nationally for unemployment were released, and Australia nationally is pretty much where it was before, but Victoria now has the highest unemployment in Australia.
Well, there's one person being added to that in about 15 minutes. Me.
You'll find something to do. You'll be all right.
You wanting us to feel sorry for
No,
you?
don't feel sorry for me. Gosh.
Can I just point out at the moment RAF's doing Radio National Drive instead, but next Monday we'll have Red back in breakfast, and I'm back from being on holidays, and Claire's going to be in the chair that she's been in all along, and Raph will be back in Drive. Well, actually in Lindy, and
We're
we'll have
back.
we'll have the full Monday to Friday
It's been
lineup
a while.
for the first time in absolutely ages. So the audience have been incredibly patient and loyal, and a lot of staff members have had to put up with musical chairs, and that's been very taxing to people as well. But either way, unemployment figures for Victoria, we want to know why they've now become the worst in Australia and what the state government are planning to do about it. The opposition undoubtedly also wanting to have a say on that too. And, you know, there's a couple of possible explanations, but we do want to find out exactly what's going on. And you'll also hear a remarkable tale to do with fans of the Richmond Football Club. It's not unheard of for people to get so excited at a football game that they in fact have heart attacks, and sometimes when people have heart attacks, they die. But you'll hear a remarkable tale today of a family of some kids whose parents have both had heart attacks
At the football?
At Richmond football.
Richmond games.
That's how Richmond fans take
There's
it.
an urban myth that the best place you can have a heart attack is not
MCG.
a grand final.
Yeah.
It's
MCG.
not an urban myth. There's more packer-whackers and first aid people at the MCG than anywhere else per head of population.
And they've got a mini hospital, haven't they?
Oh, the
there?
whole thing.
Yeah.
Greta Scacchi is
I love Greta Scacchi.
one of our most successful and fabulous actors. She's Australian-Italian. She's an ambassador for the Italian Film Festival, which kicked off last night. She has a role in one of the big films, and she's one of my guests after 11 o'clock in the studio for the conversation hour. Whoa! And that should be good fun too. Friday wrap, all the usual things.
Awesome.
How's that?
Good.
Would you throw to the news headlines at this stage? Or
No,
would
Yeah,
you
no,
keep
you
going?
throw.
Dave.
No,
but
Would
you should
you,
throw.
or
Just
would you make it all late by asking me some other irrelevant and stupid question?
Thanks, John. Thanks, Dave. It's 7:30, time for ABC News headlines with Tim, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Tim Gillen.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, everyone. The cases of the last two federal politicians embroiled in Canberra's citizenship saga will be heard in the High Court for the first time today. Lawyers for the Deputy Nationals leader Fiona Nash and South Australian Senator Nick Xenophon will appear before the court this morning. The Commonwealth is gathering expert legal advice on the citizenship of both senators. The Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for attacks that killed at least 60 people and wounded scores of others in Iraq's south. A statement on an IS-supporting social media channel claimed responsibility for the attack more than 300 kilometres south of Baghdad. Most of the victims were Shiite pilgrims from neighbouring Iran. And a Melbourne doctor who's been under investigation for his anti-vaccination stance has had his licence to practice suspended. The Mitcham GP had agreed to stop practising temporarily while the Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency investigated allegations he'd helped families avoid compulsory child vaccinations. Cloudy with a very high chance of showers today in Melbourne, a top of 17 degrees. It's 12 degrees now. More news at 7:45.
ABC Radio Melbourne traffic.